It's really easy for Christians in the midst of going through whatever they're going through to question God, wonder where he's at, wonder why he's not moving, and you just don't know the full story yet. And you might not ever know in certain circumstances, but so many things that we question God, get angry with God, etc., we don't understand, and God knows exactly what you need before you even ask it, and we don't need to pray over the circumstances of unknown, because again, God knows what you need already. I had a micro example of this yesterday. I've had way bigger examples, but it was just funny because I was just talking about this in a Bible study we were doing yesterday. And I was talking with friends, and they stay over quite late actually, and they left, and I was trying to go to bed and I couldn't. So I go to bed every single night, 10 p.m. on the dot, never changes. Wake up at 6 a.m. every single morning, never changes. And I could not fall asleep. And nothing crazy happened, nothing, I was just couldn't, get out of my own head. It wasn't good, wasn't bad things. It was just neutral things, but I just couldn't stop thinking. So I go to sleep at midnight. And I'm like, Lord, I've missed the gym 1 or 2 times this week already. And it's just so not like me to do, but man, I was just so drained. I just couldn't help it. And I woke up, perfect timing this morning, and felt great when I woke up. So the Lord honored my prayer and my request in that. And I was thinking man, I've got to wake up tomorrow morning now, extremely early for somebody who I've got to do a meeting with. And there's different time zones and everything. I've got to wake up extremely early. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be hard because I'm going to have to go to bed early today. And I was like, oh wait, it's going to be easy for me to go to bed early because I went to sleep very late last night. So it's actually going to be way easier for me to go to sleep tonight than I was originally expecting. It's one of those things that it's easy for me to get angry and be like, God, why? You knew that I had to wake up early the very next day and you didn't help me. And now I'm up late now and it's going to be harder to go to... But he knew the whole time that actually if I stayed up later last night, that I'd be able to go to sleep earlier tonight, which would help me for the thing that's far more important that I'm doing tomorrow morning. That is obviously a very minor example, and it plays very little impact on eternity or anything like this. But there's so many things in your life that you just don't know why you're going through. And we can complain and boo-hoo all day about the persecution and the trials and the tribulations that we're going through, if we can even call them that. And God's like, man, if you only knew the end of the story, you would have an extreme appreciation for what you're going through right now. I had a friend yesterday, the Bible study was talking about a dog he has, and he had a sore on his neck, and the dog kept scratching it, kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if this dog was out in the wild, this dog would have died because that sore would have kept getting bigger and bigger as he scratched it, and it would have taken over his whole face, and then it would have killed him from bacteria, etc., getting in it, right? Well, what they did is they had to take the dog and they, forced this cream into his neck, into this wound, and they forced him in a cage for the day because they didn't want the other dogs licking it off because the other dogs were licking the wound. And again, the dog is probably wondering, what the heck are you doing? This burns like crazy. You're putting this on me. And now I'm locked in a cage and I can't even be with my other dog friends, right? The dog has no idea, and they're just frustrated probably in the process, being like, you're hurting me and you're not letting me do what I want to do. But little does he know, these people are actually saving his life by the thing that they're doing. And God might be saving your life by the thing that you're doing. And again, you might not ever know why. Do you know how many times that you have shown up late to a place or something and you had no idea what God was trying to do and he was trying to save you from because he knew that car wreck, right? I know that's kind of the cliche example, but the point is you'll never know, right? Sometimes you will, but generally speaking, you'll never have any idea of the wreck that he saved you from because it's not like somebody else got in that wreck. It's just you would have been there and you weren't there, so you didn't get in the wreck. Had that happen for me, I was at a funeral of one of my best friends. It was horrible. It was just not a great day. And I was driving out of the funeral home and I get a flat tire and I'm like, okay, nice. And it's 95 degrees. So I've got me and all my friends, we're all in button downs and suits and we're drenched in sweat changing this tire, right? And I also didn't have a jack on me for some reason. Somebody took the jack out of my car. It was probably me, I'm sure. But so we're not literally knocking on doors being like, hey, can I borrow your jack? Finally got a jack, jacked the car up, got the tire off, got the new tire on. Again, just already not a great day. And this just added to it. And then we're driving and then we get stuck in crazy traffic. And we're it's 45 minute, both sides of the highway, 3-lane highways on each side, completely stopped. And it's bro, what happened? And ended up looking on the map, on Waze, the app Waze, and figured out that it was a 4-car pileup and multiple people died in that wreck. And I looked at when the wreck happened because it was noted on Waze when it had started. And when it had started, if we would have not had that flat tire, we would have literally been there at that exact minute, in that exact moment on that wreck. I checked the GPS map and everything because I was like, this is way too coincidental. God saved my life through that. Like, literally saved me and a lot of people we were with's lives from that happening. Just from being at this one person's funeral. It's crazy. God has things that he has set you apart for. He has called you for such a time as this. And we should be stewarding the time that we have, because the days are evil, as it says in Scripture. And for us to live in such a space of ungratitude and whatnot, and just not knowing what God is saving you from and saving you for, man, if we knew, I think that we would be living a lot different than a lot of Christians that I see living. And we wouldn't be so prioritizing and making a big deal over the little things in life, but we would really be intentional about making sure that we can steward these days. Like, God knew when he was going to create you before you were in your mother's womb. He was the one who had predestined these things before the foundations of the world. And he has something for you in this life that he wants you to live out. And are you living that thing out? He has saved you from those things for something. It's not just so that you can live another day and work your 9 to 5 one more day and just eat dinner with the family one more day. There is more to life than this. And we have the opportunity to be in part of God's plan or not. The most cliche verse in the world, one of the top 3, it's where I'm reading in my daily reading right now, is in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans for your welfare and not for your calamity. Plans to give you a hope and a future. God says, I know the plans that I have for you. God has plans for you, and he knows what those plans are that he has for you. Are you seeking those things out? God says, if you diligently seek me, you'll find me. It says that actually in that very next verse as well in Jeremiah. It says that if you seek me with all your heart, that you'll find me in regards to that thing that he has called you to. And if you're not seeking him, though, no wonder you're not finding it. Like, seek him diligently with everything that you have, and God will reveal those things to you so that you can walk in those things, and you will be so fulfilled in living in that calling that God has called you to. You've been called, live in a manner worthy of that calling, like it says in Ephesians 4:1, and it will be the greatest decision you ever made in your life. Don't be a poor steward of the days. There's so many things that you can be doing, playing Xbox, watching Netflix, and these things aren't in and of themselves bad. But when I see people prioritizing those things and not prioritizing something as simple as reading every day and living in that calling every day and doing the ministry God's called you to every day, that's where I see a huge problem. So what is it that you can do today different? Pray, get on your knees, seek God, ask him, and he's a good God, and he'll help you see that revelation.